Meet Sang Woo, just a regular guy until his clone power kicks in. Now he's slicing monsters like it's payday, and trust me, he never fights alone. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Hit that like button and subscribe to join us on more wild adventures like Sang Woo's monster-slaying mayhem. Many people dream of having a double who can work, go to the gym, and do all the difficult daily tasks for them. One day, this dream comes true for a young man named Sang Woo. But his peaceful life soon ends. He wakes up to find his parents' apartment in ruins, and monsters filling the city streets. Even after all this, Sang Woo does not give up. He wants to become stronger. He gives instructions to his partners to collect the bodies of all the monsters they hunt. To others, it may look foolish how he fights even the most powerful monsters without hesitation. Seeing a giant monster, Sang Woo smiles. He has not faced such a big enemy in a long time. He tells his team to attack. They will earn good money for this battle. Sang Woo, holding his captured sword, gets ready to fight. But he is never alone in battle, as his special skill is cloning. Everyone has things they must do in life, like studying, working, and eating. But Sang Woo does not like these daily tasks. He always dreams of doing only what he enjoys. One of his favorite activities is playing computer games. He also loves traveling, both in his country and abroad. Meeting friends and having drinks is another thing he enjoys. He also dreams of romance, like taking a walk in the park with a beautiful girl. But he does not like that people can do only one thing at a time. He wishes he had two bodies to do everything he wants. At the Awakening Center, more and more people arrive. They are excited about getting new abilities and talk about what skills they might receive. Sang Woo does not care much. He finds the whole thing boring and just wants to go home to play games. Then, a man with a microphone speaks. He introduces himself as Park Won-tae, a Class A hunter. He will lead the awakening ceremony. The government created this program to give people special skills. Park Won-tae wishes everyone good luck and calls the first group to enter the portal. One by one, people step forward. Sang Woo waits in line without much interest. When his turn comes, he stands in front of a cheerful girl who welcomes him. She checks his identity using a special bracelet. After that, she tells him to enter the portal. Sang Woo has never done this before. He hesitates for a moment. His heart beats fast, but he knows he must go through. He reaches out his hand and touches the darkness of the portal. In an instant, the system registers him, and he appears on the other side. Sang Woo looks around, feeling strange. He sees that other people also feel unwell after passing through the portal. Then, he notices a girl celebrating. She has received a powerful skill called Phoenix Firebird Summon. Suddenly, men rush toward her. They are from different hunter associations, trying to recruit her. Sang Woo watches and feels jealous of her strong skill. Suddenly, a young man approaches him and asks if he is feeling okay. Sang Woo honestly replies he does not feel well. The man assures him that it will pass soon. Then Sang Woo checks what skill he has received. He opens his status window, which appears as soon as he thinks about it. He is surprised by the interactive system. His general stats are so low that he feels embarrassed to look at them. Instead, he checks his new ability. He discovers that his skill is cloning, and at this stage, he can create only one clone. Right away, he wonders how this can help him in daily life. The young man next to him asks what skill he received. Sang Woo tells him about cloning, but the man does not seem impressed. He explains that someone once had this skill, but their clones were just illusions and had no real use. Sang Woo starts to worry that his clones might also be useless. The man tries to comfort him, saying that having any skill is better than having none. Suddenly, a crowd gathers around another awakened person who has received an incredible skill. The person is already showing their power to the evaluation team. Sang Woo feels even more disappointed. He wonders how to leave. The man explains that he must first register his awakening. A few minutes later, Sang-woo is inside a machine that scans his body. After the scan, he talks to an employee who enters his information into the system. The employee tells him that his registration details are now stored in his bracelet. The awakening process is complete. Sang-woo leaves and heads home. He looks at his bracelet, thinking about how quickly everything happened. As he reaches his front door, he wonders about his new ability. But once inside, his focus shifts. He sits down and sorts through items in a game, separating useful things from trash. After playing for a while, he gets tired and lies down on his bed. He starts thinking about rent and school. Moreover, he needs a job. He wishes someone could work for him. Then, he suddenly remembers his skill. Excited, he gets up and moves to an open space. He concentrates on summoning a clone. At that moment, mana surrounds his body, glowing softly. The energy moves in front of him, forming into a solid shape. Suddenly, there is a bright flash. When the light fades, Sang-woo sees his exact copy standing before him. Sang-woo stares at his clone in amazement. After a moment, he asks if the clone is real. Without showing any emotion, the copy confirms that he is Sang-woo's clone. Still unsure, Sang-woo asks if he can touch him. The clone agrees and even calls Sang-woo master. Feeling a little awkward, Sang-woo touches the clone and realizes that he is not an illusion. Then, he notices something else. The clone is completely naked. Deciding that he needs to dress him, Sang-woo quickly finds some clothes. Once dressed, the clone tells him that he only needs to receive orders. Wanting to test his skill, Sang-woo mentally orders the clone to sit. Immediately, the clone obeys. Sang-woo is surprised and pleased that he does not have to speak to give orders. Next, he orders the clone to stand, and he does. Then he tells the clone to repeat the movement several times. The clone crouches and stands up again and again. Soon, he starts sweating and breathing heavily. Sang-woo realizes that the clone's physical abilities are exactly the same as his own. While watching the clone, Sang-woo's attention shifts to his phone. A friend has messaged him, asking what skill he received. Not wanting to reveal his ability, Sang-woo replies that he is still figuring it out. Meanwhile, the clone continues to squat. His friend keeps asking, curious about why Sang-woo is being so secretive. Suddenly, a system message appears. It notifies Sang-woo that his endurance level has increased. Meanwhile, the world's most famous S-tier hunter, George Lucas, receives a report. He is the only person to have conquered Odin's Tower and is the leader of a major hunter association. His assistant informs him that today, about 80% of humanity has awakened. When he asks when everyone will awaken, she estimates it will take another 5 years. Staring out of his office window at the city below, Lucas whispers that time is running out. Back in the city, Sang-woo is running through a park. He is covered in sweat, wearing heavy clothes, and pushing himself hard. Other runners watch in amazement at how intensely he trains. Suddenly he stops and sits on a bench, trying to catch his breath. A man passing by, who often sees him here, offers him some water. But instead of accepting, Sang-woo suddenly jumps up and starts running again, even faster. The man watches, confused about why he pushes himself so hard. Later, Sang-woo stands on a scale and is happy with the number he sees. He realizes that he eats as much as 2 people, but his weight keeps dropping. After finishing his daily weigh-in, he sits in a chair and reflects on what he has learned about his clone. Through trial and error, he discovers that he does not feel his clone's pain or exhaustion. If the clone gets seriously hurt or runs out of energy, he simply disappears. However, every physical improvement the clone makes is reflected in Sang-woo's real body. Since the clone does all the exercise, Sang-woo gets in great shape without any effort. He also learns that he can command his clone from a distance. In an instant, he orders the clone to stop running and start doing push-ups, and the clone obeys immediately. However, He finds out that the clone cannot create another clone. Only Sang-woo can use the cloning ability. He realizes that if clones could clone themselves, the world would be filled with endless copies of him. Sang-woo remembers the first time he visited a hunter information center. He learned about different types of abilities. Some are basic, like strength and endurance. Others are special, like regeneration and vitality, which not everyone has. Opening his status window, he is pleased to see that his stats have increased in a short time, all because his clone trains constantly. He wonders if he could improve even more by training alongside his clone. Looking at a gym flyer, Sang-woo debates whether he should start working out himself. He glances at his computer screen, where a game is still running. He looks back at the flyer. After thinking for a while, he makes a decision. He will be the mastermind, and his clone will do the hard work. One day later, Sang-woo checks his account and sees that his money is running out fast. He realizes that he is spending more on food than before. He decides he must find a part-time job. His first idea is to work in construction, where he can earn money and build his strength. However, he knows he must first do the work himself before his clone can copy him. Then, he sees an advertisement for a logistics center looking for workers. Without hesitation, he calls the number and introduces himself. The employer tells him there is no interview, and he can start immediately. When Sang-woo says he will start tomorrow, the employer asks if he can start today. After thinking for a moment, Sang-woo agrees. He realizes the company must be short on staff, but he does not mind as long as the pay is good. At the scheduled time, Sang-woo arrives at the logistics center with his clone. He looks around and sees trucks constantly moving in and out. He knows he is in the right place. His clone wears a mask and a hood to hide his identity. Sang-woo considers saying they are twin brothers, but instead, he names his clone Gyeong-do for work. He instructs Gyeong-do to answer questions if anyone speaks to him. As they stand there, a familiar voice calls out, "It is Mr. Deokchil," someone Sang-woo knows. The man is surprised to see him there and notices that Sang-woo has lost weight. Sang-woo thanks him and explains that he and a friend are working part-time. Mr. Deokchil points to an office building and tells him to check in there. After the man leaves, Sang-woo feels nervous. He asks his clone if he feels nervous, but his clone says no. Gaining confidence, Sang-woo reminds himself that he is now an awakened one and should not worry. He heads to the office, determined to start work. A few hours later, Sang-woo is sweating and exhausted. He realizes that finishing the job quickly is not possible. The logistics center is constantly busy, with new trucks arriving all the time. He watches the other workers and wonders how they keep up. Then he looks at his clone, who is carrying a box but does not look tired. Sang-woo thinks the clone is working well without him. Just then, the supervisor announces a break. Sang-woo sits down, exhausted. His clone sits next to him. Mr. Deokchil approaches them and gives each of them a can of soda. As they drink, the man asks the clone's name. As instructed, the clone introduces himself as Gyeong-do. Mr. Deokchil smiles and says that this must be Sang-woo's first time doing such work. Sang-woo admits that the job is harder than he expected. Mr. Deokchil laughs and says that most first-timers quit before lunchtime. Sang-woo silently agrees that he would have left too if he did not need the money. The conversation shifts to Sang-woo's studies. He explains that he is attending university. Meanwhile, quickly finishes his soda in one gulp. Mr. Deokchil comments that Sang-woo is studying at a good university and wishes his daughter could do the same. Sang-woo says that he also struggled with academics, but managed to enroll by studying extra. Mr. Deokchil is impressed and thinks deeply for a moment. Then, he asks Sang-woo if he would like a different job. Surprised, Sang-woo asks what kind of job. Mr. Deokchil offers him a tutoring position to help his daughter prepare for university. Sang-woo hesitates, thinking about the little money left in his account. He then asks about the pay. Mr. Deochil offers 50,000 won per lesson for 2 lessons a week. Sang-woo quickly sees the benefit of this offer. Only 4 hours of work per week for good pay. They shake hands and finalize the deal. Mr. Deokchil says he will talk to his daughter after work and contact Sang-woo later. Later, Sang-woo looks up at the sky, hoping he will succeed in this new role. Just then, he receives a system message. His characteristics have increased. He is happy to see that he can earn money and improve his stats at the same time. He watches as other workers continue their jobs, unaware of the double benefits Sang-woo is receiving. Then his stomach growls. He reaches for his bag, where he packed lunch for himself and his clone, but the bag is empty. He looks at his clone, who is finishing the last cheeseburger. The clone drinks the second can of soda, completely ignoring his master's frustration. Sang-woo makes a few unkind remarks about his clone's behavior. The next morning is one of the hardest in Sang-woo's life. Every muscle in his body hurts. He decides that from now on, only his clone will do part-time jobs. Then the system announces an increase in performance. Sang-woo realizes that his clone is still working. He mentally orders him to return home. While the clone makes his way back, Sang-woo, who hasn't eaten all night, prepares breakfast. In just 10 minutes, he feels happy and satisfied. But his peaceful morning is interrupted when the front door suddenly opens. He jumps in surprise, only to see his clone standing there, reporting that he has completed his task. Sang-woo is still not used to having someone else enter his house. He takes a deep breath to calm down, and then orders his clone to take a shower and change clothes. 15 minutes later, his clone returns, clean and dressed. Sang-woo has a plan. He asks the clone to extend one of his arms. Holding a small needle, he pricks the clone's finger. The clone does not react at all. Seeing this, Sang-woo wipes away the small drop of blood with a napkin. Later, he sits at his computer, reading about regeneration skills. He learns that the body heals itself when damaged. He does not want to cause serious harm to his clone, so he decides to test only with small needle pricks. Sang-woo then gives number 1 new instructions. Go to work, eat when hungry, and train in his free time. He hands him a phone, telling him to always carry it and answer his calls. With that settled, Sang-woo heads to the gym for his own training session. As he walks, he suddenly feels a heavy hand land on his shoulder. His friend Kim greets him cheerfully, saying they haven't seen each other in a long time. As Sang-woo struggles to free himself from Kim's grip, his friend notices that Sang-woo has lost a lot of weight. Sang-woo smugly replies that he has started exercising and is on his way to the gym. Kim, curious, asks which gym he is going to. When Sang-woo tells him, Kim immediately praises the place, saying a very attractive trainer works there. Hearing this, Kim decides to join the training session as well. At the gym, people are busy exercising, building their muscles. One of the trainers, who is also the gym administrator, sits at the front desk, eating his meal. Just then, Sang-woo and Kim walk in. The administrator greets them. He eagerly explains the gym's promotions and discounts. Already familiar with the prices, Sang-woo asks for a 3-month subscription and some help with learning proper exercise techniques. Soon, Sang-woo finds himself trying the bench press. After finishing, he thanks the coach for correcting his form. Meanwhile, on another bench, Kim does the same exercise. He lifts the heavy weights with such force that everyone in the gym watches in amazement. When he finishes, he sits down, breathing heavily and flexing his huge arms. The administrator, impressed, asks Kim if he has been training for a long time. To everyone's surprise, Kim says it is his first time at the gym. Sang-woo immediately suspects that Kim gained extra strength after awakening his abilities. Listening to the conversation, Sang-woo realizes how powerful even a small increase in strength can be. He wonders just how strong high-level hunters must be. His thoughts are interrupted by a phone call. It is Mr. Deokshil. Remembering their agreement, the man says he has spoken to his daughter and asks when Sang-woo is available to start tutoring. Since Sang-woo has plenty of free time, he immediately gets invited to Mr. Deokchil's house. While riding the elevator, he recalls how the gym session ended. Kim did not buy a subscription, saying that Sang-woo would feel embarrassed training next to him. But Sang-woo knows the real reason. Kim only wanted to see the female trainer, who wasn't there that day. Sang-woo teases him about it. Still, it works out for the best. Now, his clone can go to the gym without Kim causing unnecessary trouble. Finally, Sang-woo arrives at the right floor and stands in front of Mr. Deokshil's apartment door. Inside, he hears a loud argument. A young woman angrily tells her father that he made the decision without consulting her. Suddenly, the door swings open. Mr. Deokshil, stepping outside, firmly tells his daughter that canceling the lesson is not an option. In his frustration, he doesn't realize that the door slams right into Sang-woo's head. A dull thud echoes in the hallway. Shocked, Mr. Deokshil looks at him, eyes wide with surprise. His daughter, now face to face with Sang-woo, also stares at him in silence. A few minutes later, Sang-woo sat inside the apartment, holding a cold wet towel to his bruised forehead. Mr. Deokshil kept apologizing for what had happened. His wife soon joined them and noticed how much weight Sang-woo had lost since they last met. He explained that it was because of his regular training. Sang-woo then looked at the girl sitting quietly nearby. Her name was Haeyeon, and she looked very uncomfortable. Her face was bright red. Just a few minutes ago, she had loudly complained about having a young tutor, but now she was silent. Her parents found the sudden change in her behavior amusing. Haeyeon, on the other hand, felt embarrassed. She was sure Sang-woo had heard her arguing with her father. Sang-woo got straight to the point. He asked to see Haeyeon's report card. Haeyeon's eyes widened in horror. She hesitated but finally handed him the paper. As Sang-woo studied her grades, she burned with shame. Her parents chuckled at her reaction. Then, Mr. Deokshil suddenly stood up and said he had to go to work. He quickly left the apartment. Sang-woo looked at Haeyeon again. He could see how sad and embarrassed she was. Wanting to comfort her, he told her that he had also struggled with low grades. To catch up and enter university, he had worked very hard. Hearing this, Haeyeon's face brightened a little. She was thankful for his kind words. Sang-woo then said they would do their best to improve her grades and prepare her for university. When the first lesson was over, Sang-woo left the apartment, thinking about the long journey ahead. Teaching Haeyeon would not be easy. She was trying her best, but it would take a lot of effort. Still, he believed there was hope. Back at home, Sang-woo sat at his desk and noticed that his clone had already left for work. He realized that if he created more clones, he would have to buy each one a phone. That would be too expensive. Then, he decided to check an online marketplace for hunters. This was a place where hunters could buy special skills. But when he looked at the prices, he felt hopeless. With that much money, he would rather buy a house than a new skill. Sang-woo began to wonder how much hunters must earn to afford such expensive skills. He checked his bank account and saw that he had very little money left. He sighed and fell onto his bed. After a few minutes, a thought crossed his mind. Maybe he should become a hunter. He turned on the news. The report was about high-level hunters. This made him sit up suddenly. He had a unique skill, and he should not waste it doing hard labor as a loader. Feeling motivated, he decided to start his plan immediately. Decades ago, portals appeared all over the world. Monsters came out of these portals, causing a global disaster. Half of the human population died. People thought humanity would be wiped out, but then some humans awakened special abilities. These people fought and defeated the monsters. That was how the hunter profession began. Sang Woo headed to the Hunter Center while listening to a commercial about getting a hunting license. When he arrived, he was impressed by the size of the building. Inside, he saw shops selling weapons and equipment. He also saw many people, some of whom had come to take the hunter license test. A woman nearby announced that the test would be held on the ground floor. She added that applicants had only 20 minutes left to register. Feeling nervous, Sang Woo quickly signed up and went to the test room. He opened the door and greeted everyone inside. Instantly, he felt the cold stares of the other applicants. Embarrassed, he looked for an empty seat. Without thinking, he apologized to the people in the room. A few of them laughed at him for being so soft-spoken. Then a tall and muscular man entered. His name was Han Myung-won, a C-rank hunter. He was the examiner for the test. Han explained that the test had 3 parts: theory, practice, and an aptitude test. He warned that anyone caught cheating would never get a hunter license. Sung Woo sat up straight, listening carefully. He could feel Han Myung-hwan's powerful presence. The examiner finished his speech and announced the start of the test. The scene shifts to the CEO of the JM Hunter Agency. Kang listens to a phone call. His caller is upset, but Kang tells him to wait a little longer because things will improve soon. The caller hangs up angrily. Kang thinks he got off easy today. Looking at the time, he remembers that the next hunter's license exam at the Hunter's Center is ending soon. Meanwhile, Sang Woo stands and reads the message from the system, telling him he has received his hunter's license, which is level F. He recalls the exam. It was easy. The written test was followed by time to practice for the practical shooting test. The aptitude test was just a conversation about ethics and morality. Sang Woo wonders if it's normal for anyone to get a license for such dangerous work. It feels like the government wants as many people as possible to become hunters. Once outside, Sang Woo sees newly licensed hunters being approached by people in suits, handing out business cards. These people are recruiters from various agencies and associations that want new members. Sang Woo watches for a while as the recruiters talk about the benefits of joining their agencies. Then, a man congratulates him on receiving his hunter's license. The man introduces himself as Kang Harding and offers to work with his agency. Sang Woo takes the business card, thanks him, but is distracted by a new message from the system. His development level has increased, and he can now summon 2 clones at a time. He stops listening to Kang and walks away, promising to call him later. Kang regrets missing the opportunity to recruit Sang Woo. It gets dark, and the clouds disappear, revealing the stars. In Sang Woo's apartment, Number 1 stands and watches his master use his basic skill again. Sang Woo speaks to his clone, Number 2, and tells him that they are now ready to become hunters. He takes out Kang's business card and shows it to his clones. Kang, after handing out business cards, sits in his car, hoping someone will call him. As he takes a break, he remembers his old boss. The boss told him to spend the amount agreed upon in the contract. But when Kang looks at the documents, his face changes. He believes that the price for killing a monster should be higher. His boss says that Kang has been working for them for a long time and should understand how things work. The boss advises Kang not to get involved in the internal affairs of the agency. Kang feels anger rise as he sits in his car, wondering if he should just stay quiet and accept the situation. Suddenly, his phone rings. He answers the call and is told that someone wants to meet with him. Kang arrives at a cafe where he sees Sang Woo waving at him. Sang Woo apologizes for being late, and they sit down to talk. After ordering drinks, Kang asks Sang Woo what his basic skill is. Sang Woo calmly replies that his skill is cloning. Kang's expression changes because he has heard of similar skills that create useless illusions. He wonders how this skill could help in hunting. Kang pulls out some papers and tells Sang Woo that his skills are excellent. He offers Sang Woo the contract to join the agency. As Sang Woo reads, Kang explains the work. He suggests starting by hunting slugs, which is simple and not very dangerous. He also mentions areas with mutant rats, but warns that safety can't be guaranteed there. Sang-woo takes a photo of the contract and says that hunting slugs isn't a problem for him. After reading the contract, Sang-woo likes the prices for monster corpses and the artifacts they can sell. He tells Kang he is ready to sign the contract. Kang asks him which area he would choose for hunting. Suddenly, someone approaches the table and places a stamp on the contract. He says that the man has misunderstood him. He plans to hunt in each of the areas that Kang just mentioned. In a flashback, we see. After greeting the new applicant, Kang asks what skill the young man has. The applicant replies that his skill is cloning. Kang then asks him to show this skill in action. The young man has no problem doing this. He activates his energy, and several exact copies of him appear in front of Kang. Kang is impressed by this skill. The clones seem to have endless possibilities. But then, all the clones suddenly draw their swords and point them at the original. Kang becomes worried, fearing what might happen next. His worst fears come true when the clones stab their creator with their swords. Kang, worried for his safety, calls for the clones to stop and tries to shield himself from any possible attack. But the young man calmly says that his clones are not real. They are just illusions. He explains that the clones only distract attention while he, the real person, can attack. Kang listens carefully and watches the clones disappear. He breathes a sigh of relief and thinks that this skill is definitely related to illusions. However, back to present, he is surprised because the young man's clone picks up the contract papers he handed over to him. The clone even drinks the coffee that was brought to the table. Kang has never seen a skill like this before, where a person can create real clones instead of illusions. He is still filled with doubts and suggests that maybe the young man and his clone are twin brothers. The young man laughs loudly. He turns to his clone and says that this is what most people would think. He turns back to Kang and confidently says that this is his clone and that he is real. He adds that he has another clone working out in the gym. Kang is very surprised. He didn't know that clones could do everything a real person can do, including building muscles. The young man also adds that if his clones get stronger, then he will get stronger too. Kang begins to understand that this young man, although currently a level F hunter, has great potential. His thoughts are interrupted when the young man asks if there will be any problems if the same person enters two different hunting areas. Kang confirms that there could be problems because strict controls are in place in all areas. The young man is disappointed. He wanted to benefit from both areas at once. But Kang reassures him that he will speak to the Hunter Association and they should find a solution. The young man says that he needs some time to restore his energy before the demonstration continues. Kang suggests meeting in a couple of days at the Hunter Center. Before leaving, Kang wants to talk about the contract again, but the young man interrupts him. He says he already put his stamp on it and has studied the details from the photo the clone sent him. Kang is surprised. He stands up suddenly, which almost scares the young man, but Kang smiles and extends his hand, saying he's very glad to work with someone as talented as him. The young man shakes his hand, and they both agree to work together. 2 days later, Sang-woo is at the Hunter Center, looking for Kang. Kang notices the young man's punctuality and points out that he arrived even before the scheduled time. Sang-woo says he didn't know where the Hunter Association was located in the center. Kang explains that most of its departments are there. He invites Sang-woo to follow him, and they enter the busy building. A young man with glasses asks Sang-woo if he really wants dual access to the hunting areas. Sang-woo explains that he has the cloning skill, and the employee asks him to wait. His request is unusual, and the staff needs time to find the right form for dual access. Sang-woo thinks that this is a rare situation. Soon, the form is found. The employee hands it to Sang-woo and tells him where to go for the demonstration. Sang-woo and Kang are amazed by the amount of paperwork required, but they divide the tasks. Kang handles the bureaucracy, and Sang-woo will demonstrate his skill. Sang-woo goes to the room for the demonstration and meets a pretty girl there. Without hesitation, Sang-woo uses his fully restored energy to create a clone. In an instant, a naked copy of Sang-woo appears in the room. The girl is embarrassed and pretends to close her eyes. Meanwhile, a man in another room finishes working on a bracelet that all hunters wear. He announces that a copy of the bracelet for entering the hunting area is ready. The man explains that the bracelet will account for Sang-woo's clone's entry, exit, and re-entry. As the man hands over the bracelet, he mentions that Sang-woo's skill is unique and has never been seen before. Sang-woo thanks the man and quickly leaves to avoid any unwanted attention. The man is left alone, thinking about how fascinating this young man could be for research. Sang-woo returns to where Kang is waiting. He tells Kang that the bracelet issue has been solved. He also happily announces that everything is ready for the hunt. Kang asks when Sang-woo wants to start. Sang-woo replies that he is free and ready to start right now. Kang then asks why the clone hides its face behind a mask. Sang-woo explains that it's to avoid unnecessary attention. As they chat, a man from the upper floor notices them. He is Shin Hee-sung, the guild master of the Hee-sung Guild. He is a little surprised to see Kang there. Shin Hye-sung, the head of the Hye-sung Guild, stands surprised to see Junmo there. Suddenly, Hye-sung jumps down noisily from several floors high, landing on the first floor. Sang-woo quickly recognizes him as the Hye-sung Guild's leader and watches him carefully. Hye-sung realizes he hasn't seen Junmo in a long time and is unaware Junmo is still involved with hunters. Sang-woo, looking upward, is amazed at Hee-seong's impressive strength, as jumping from such heights seems normal to him. Junmo, however, clearly isn't happy to see Hee-seong and greets him coldly through clenched teeth, using a formal sir, which only makes Hee-seong laugh. Once finished laughing, Hee-seong looks at Sang-woo and asks Junmo who he is. Junmo explains Sang-woo is someone who works with his company. Hee-seong casts a glance at the young man, quickly assuming he must be a low-ranked F-level hunter. He laughs again, mocking Junmo for falling from supervising B-level hunters down to F-level and ridiculing Sang-woo's clothes. Junmo, offended, grits his teeth and prepares for conflict, but Sang-woo stops him gently by placing a hand on his shoulder. Hee-seong sees Sang-woo step forward, guessing he has something to say. Sang-woo smiles politely and says he feels honored to meet and talk with the famous head of the Hunters Association. Hye-sung immediately realizes Sang-woo is clever. Sang-woo continues smiling as he openly says the Hye-sung Guild is known for monopolizing hunting areas, banning hunts, and stealing hunters' hard-earned money. Hee-seong never expected such blunt honesty, even though it's true. Sang-woo keeps smiling, remarking that now he doesn't know how to handle this meeting. Hee-seong stretches his neck, noting Sang-woo's bravery, and instantly appears behind him, saying such boldness should come with strong skills. Before they can continue, Hee-seong's assistant interrupts. While approaching the assistant, Hee-seong mutters that someone has ruined his fun. He tells Sang-woo they are done for today and starts leaving. Suddenly Hee-seong turns back and asks Sang-woo what his name is. Sang-woo responds that someone like Hee-seong could easily discover it himself. Turning again, Hee-seong smiles, amused by Sang-woo, and says goodbye to Junmo until next time. Hee-seong's assistant immediately lectures him on inappropriate behavior within the guild's building. Soon after, Sang-woo, his clone, and Junmo sit quietly in Junmo's car. Junmo is the first to break the silence in the car, thanking Sang-woo for stepping in earlier, and Sang-woo replies that he couldn't just stand by and watch. Junmo then asks if Sang-woo knows about his past with the Hee-seong Guild. Sang-woo explains that he learned about it while researching the JM agency, and found rumors that Junmo had been expelled from the Hee-seong Guild. Junmo now understands why no one has worked with him for so long. curious. He asks why Sang-woo would still choose to work with him, and Sang-woo says the main reason was the payment ratio the agency offered. But after a few seconds, he adds that he also feels he can trust Junmo, which surprises the man. Meanwhile, in the gym, Sang-woo's clone is lifting a heavy barbell, and people are amazed he can endure such training. A trainer sees the clone and tells her colleague that the workout is dangerous. Her colleague replies that he tried talking to the client, but he never responds. Just then, the clone gets a message from Sang-woo telling him to stop training, take a shower, and wait at the gym's entrance. The clone quickly drinks his entire container, heads to the shower, and the trainers feel relieved. The risk to his health is over. Elsewhere, a tunnel full of slugs is the hunting ground, where Sang-woo destroys one slug with a simple tool and collects the remaining substance in a container on his back. Deciding that's enough for now, he returns to his world through a portal. After removing his gas mask and breathing in clean air, Sang-woo shares his thoughts about his first hunt with Junmo. Junmo mentions that very few go to that tunnel, even though it's safe, and Sang-woo understands why, realizing it's hard to last long there. He notices his container is only half full, and says it's impossible to stay long enough to fill it. Junmo says good uniforms help, but Sang-woo insists that even with them, he couldn't last more than 2 hours, though his clone could. Now the clone is getting dressed for the hunt, and Sang-woo sends him off to earn money. But as Sang-woo turns to call the first clone, he realizes he forgot to pick him up from the gym. Number 1 stands at the entrance of the gym, waiting as instructed, until he finally hears Sang-woo's voice telling him to get in the car quickly. While Junmo drives Sang-woo to the next hunting area, he asks why Sang-woo calls the clones by numbers. Sang-woo explains that giving them names would confuse him, and Junmo agrees that numbering them makes sense. Then Sang-woo begins asking about hunting horned rabbits, and learns that firearms are required. When Junmo confirms this, Sang-woo says they'll need to buy a couple of guns. Junmo replies that weapons can also be rented on site, but he recommends buying a personal uniform eventually, since rented weapons can only be used on hunting grounds. Sang-woo, now deep in thought about how much the gear might cost, hears loud noises and asks what the sound is. Junmo says they've arrived. It's a secured area for horned rabbit hunting, buzzing with activity from both hunters and military personnel. Once out of the car, Sang-woo immediately notices how different this area is from the slug territory. Junmo recalls that a monster breakthrough once happened here. Sang-woo remembers hearing or reading about such events, where monsters manage to cross through the portal, something normally impossible. These events are called breakthroughs. As Sang-woo walks toward the entrance, Junmo continues explaining that high-rank monsters are usually killed, and E and F-level monsters that remain become valuable targets for hunters. Sang-woo is more surprised that no one seems to mind the deafening noise all around. Soon, he and Junmo are inside, and it's just as busy as outside. Junmo points to the weapons section, saying Sang-woo can rent everything there. After choosing the guns, ammunition, and renting the hunting spot, the total cost comes to 70,000. Sang-woo takes out his bank card and realizes even renting is quite expensive. Junmo explains that the cartridges cost the most, but assures him that a good hunt will make up for the expense. Looking at their ticket, Junmo says their hunting spot is on the 3rd floor in the F-level zone. When the right door opens, Junmo quickly covers his ears just in time, because in this hunting area, the constant gunfire is so loud that it can instantly damage hearing. The hunt is busy, with some people upset over mistakes and others happy with their new catches. Junmo points to an empty seat and tells Sang-woo it's the one from their ticket. As he puts down a box of bullets, Junmo asks if Sang-woo is confident in his shooting. Sang-woo says he is, but Junmo isn't so sure since Sang-woo missed 3 close-range shots in the exam. Sang-woo loads his gun and proudly says he feels sorry for all the horned rabbits he will shoot today. Confident, he says no target can escape his sharp eyes and gets ready to hunt. Soon, he spots a horned rabbit calmly sitting in the grass through his scope. Junmo is surprised Sang-woo finds a target so fast. Sang-woo carefully aims at the head, tightens his finger on the trigger, and says, "The real hunt begins." But later, he's holding his head in frustration, realizing he hasn't hit anything. Clone number one sits nearby, bored, while Sang-woo remembers how the target moved away just as he shot. Junmo, watching the failed hunt, says it's too late now. Leaving the hunting area, Sang-woo looks into the dark forest and realizes he won't even make enough to cover his rental costs. Tired, he tells his clone to stay and shoot at the horned rabbits, and if he hits one, to take the body out with a harpoon. The clone should send a +1 message for each hit and call if the bullets run out. Sang-woo heads home, lies down, and sees messages showing clone number 2 is hitting targets. He opens his stats window and sees that his abilities are slowly improving. But then he remembers the powerful leader of the Haishang Guild he met earlier. Sighing, Sang-woo realizes he still has a long way to go to reach that level. He never thought hunting horned rabbits would be so hard and such a failure. As he falls asleep, he dreams that clone number 1 can at least shoot something. Sang-woo is already in a deep sleep when his phone screen suddenly lights up with a new message. The next morning, Junmo is in his office, looking mysteriously toward the rising sun. A phone call interrupts his peaceful moment, and when Junmo confirms that Hunter Sang-woo is part of his agency, he is urgently asked to go to the slug hunting site. When he asks why, they explain that the hunter has not stopped working for over a day. Surprised by this, Junmo promises to arrive as quickly as possible. At the same time, Sang-woo wakes up at home, feeling well rested. Checking his phone, he sees a message from number 1 and assumes the hunt has ended. But when he unlocks the screen, he finds many messages from the clone. When Junmo arrives at the slug hunting site, he is shocked to see the area filled with massive containers full of the valuable slug substance. Meanwhile, soldiers are trying to stop the persistent clone who refuses to stop hunting. Realizing he must act, Junmo quickly calls Sang-woo. Sang-woo answers right away and hears the good news that his clone has filled all the storage units at the slime ground. Junmo also asks him to order the clone to stop. Sang-woo, happy with the news, then asks Junmo to send a cleanup team to the Ujangsun, since judging by the messages he received, the place is likely filled with corpses. Indeed, at the horned rabbit site, a huge pile of monster corpses has gathered and is now surrounded by a crowd of spectators filming the scene. People are amazed that one young man has caught so many monsters on his own. Hunters and agency representatives are also present, and several well-dressed men are trying to hand their business cards to Sang-woo's clone. However, number 1 ignores them all, since he was never ordered to accept cards. One representative believes the hunter is testing his patience and stands still, hoping for a reaction. But another tells him it's pointless, saying others have already tried different ways to talk to him without success. The last person to try handing over a card is surprised when told by members of top agencies that nothing will work. While he continues asking questions, Sang-woo suddenly appears beside his clone, pulling up his hood to avoid drawing too much attention from the crowd gathering around his impressive results. Sang-woo places a small box next to his clone, telling him to continue hunting horned rabbits, as the box contains the ammunition number 1 had run out of. Stepping back, Sang-woo thanks the clone for doing such a great job. Number 1 quickly reloads and prepares to resume hunting, surprising the crowd, who can't believe the hunter is continuing after such a long and hard night. People call for silence and take out their phones to record this never-before-seen hunt. Sang-woo thinks deeply about how he may have underestimated his clones, who each have 50% of his abilities. If they are half as strong as him, they shouldn't be this capable, which leaves him thinking. Suddenly, a woman's voice calling him Mr. Jong makes Sang-woo jump. It's Haeon, who asks what he was thinking about so seriously. Sang-woo avoids the question and apologizes for being late, then hands her a notebook, complimenting her improved skills. He finally says that he was just at a hunting zone and that things went much better than expected. Heian is shocked to learn her teacher is also a hunter and scolds him for not saying so earlier. Taking out her phone, she asks if he knows the new internet star called Eagle Eye. Sang-woo pretends to be surprised as she shows him a video of number one standing on a mountain of corpses. She explains that this new hunter has killed over 200 horned rabbits and never talks, ignoring all questions and offers from agencies. But when asked his name, he simply says he is Eagle Eye. Sang-woo is stunned while watching the video and listening to Heian. Without looking up, she suddenly says she wants to become a hunter too. Sang-woo, wanting to change the topic, asks if she has awakened and received her license. She says yes, but is scared to go hunting alone. She then asks Sang-woo if he would take her hunting if she passes the exam. Caught off guard, he says that with excellent grades he could take her. This answer makes her very happy, and Sang-woo adds that he knows safe places for hunting. Heian, smiling brightly, holds out her pinky for a promise. Sang-woo links fingers with her, and she reminds him that once he makes a promise, he can't back out or lie. After finishing his lesson, Sang-woo leaves the room and meets Heian's mother in the kitchen. Heian listens nearby as her mother asks about her progress, and Sang-woo praises how hard she's working. Her mom invites him to stay for dinner, but he politely declines, saying he's busy. Feeling happy from how her tutor spoke about her, Heian hugs her big teddy bear on the bed. She creates an energy ball and stares into it, excitedly imagining going hunting with Sang-woo. Thinking of his face, she remembers how she first opposed her dad's idea of tutoring, but now finds Sang-woo kind, sweet, and clear in his explanations. She also finds him very handsome. Though it's getting late, she decides to study a bit more before sleeping. Meanwhile, Sang-woo arrives at the horned rabbit hunting area, wondering if the cleanup team has cleared all the monster corpses. Junmo is already there and happy to see Sang-woo. After walking up to him, Sang-woo greets Junmo, who stands beside number one. Junmo says he came in person to oversee the process and that he had to call many cleanup teams, more than ever before, because there were over 300 horned rabbits killed. He also mentions that he already sent Sang-woo the income details. Sang-woo doesn't hear the alert since his phone is on silent, but when he checks it, he is shocked to see nearly 500,000 in his account. Curious, he asks Junmo why the amount is more than expected. Junmo says Sang-woo's true level is clearly higher than F, so he slightly adjusted his earnings. Sang-woo is grateful and thanks him for being so thoughtful. Suddenly, a loud and unfriendly voice interrupts them. A local hunter points at number one and asks Junmo if he is this guy's agent. Junmo senses trouble, but confirms it. The man claims Sang-woo's clone stole his loot, saying every target he tried to shoot was killed first by number one, and now he demands compensation. Junmo quietly tells Sang-woo this place seems a bit rough, and Sang-woo is surprised there are such odd hunters around. Thinking for a moment, Sang-woo tells Junmo he has an idea. But the rude man, thinking he has the upper hand, lowers his demand to 10% out of fairness. As he finishes speaking, Sang-woo suddenly bursts into loud laughter, which angers the man, who grits his teeth and says he doesn't see anything funny. Sang-woo puts his hand on his clone's shoulder and happily says that no one will see this guy around for a while, then invites Junmo to leave the hunting area. Junmo is confused and nervously looks back at the angry man they're leaving behind. The racketeer, upset at being ignored, suddenly charges to attack, but just as he does, Sang-woo mentally orders number one to move. The clone steps into the path of the man's punch and gets hit hard, his face injured as he's thrown aside. The attacker is shocked by how powerful his own punch was. Sang-woo, recording the whole thing, shouts dramatically about the terrible violence on sacred hunting grounds. He loudly tells Junmo that this attack won't be ignored and mentions that fans of Eagle Eye won't like seeing their hero get hurt once the video is online. Sang-woo even shows the man the video on his phone, and the racketeer, realizing the situation, has no choice but to give up. Sang-woo suggests forgetting everything and ending on good terms, while the man grits his teeth in frustration. Taking a sip of lemonade, Sang-woo suddenly asks Junmo about the Heseong Guild, and Junmo says he believes the attacker is one of them. Number 1 silently listens while quickly drinking his lemonade. Sang-woo asks how Junmo knows the attacker is from the Heseong Guild. Junmo explains that the hunter kept watching him from the moment he arrived. Sang-woo realizes the Heseong Guild might want revenge for what happened. Junmo admits that Sang-woo and his clone are being targeted because they're part of his agency, and others before them also left due to pressure from the Heseong Guild. He cannot promise full safety or that this won't happen again. Sang-woo, still cheerful, says he won't leave the agency and plans to become much stronger very soon to protect himself. For quite some time, he explains his full plan to Junmo. When Sang-woo finishes, he asks for Junmo's opinion. Junmo is surprised and says he never thought of such an idea before. Then he writes something in his notebook and tells Sang-woo to meet him tomorrow afternoon at the hunter's market. With the rise of hunters, trade in weapons, armor, and other items grows quickly, eventually turning into huge specialized supermarkets. In one of these, Sang-woo finishes putting on his combat gear. The seller tells him the armor provides protection against level E monsters, and Sang-woo notes it's light and comfortable. Taking out a knife, Sang-woo says that since he plans to learn firearms, a regular knife will be enough for now. After putting the knife away, he asks the seller to bring him 2 more sets of the same gear. Once the purchase is done, Sang-woo and Junmo continue walking through the large shopping center. Junmo asks if Sang-woo still wants a unifying skill, and Sang-woo says yes. They find a department selling skill balls and begin searching. Sang-woo excitedly finds the skill he wants, but when he sees the price, he grabs his head in shock. With no other choice, he asks Junmo for an advance payment. Junmo checks his account and agrees to lend him some money. This, along with Sang-woo's own earnings, is enough to buy the skill. Looking at the glowing ball, Sang-woo thinks that if his plan works, this investment will bring big rewards. Later, Sang-woo is back in his apartment reading the instructions for using the skill ball. There are 2 ways to activate it, by pouring mana into it or by touching it and pressing a button, which is for those who can't control mana yet. Since Sang-woo doesn't know how to use mana, he chooses the second method. He finds a small remote, touches the ball, and presses the button. A bright light fills the room, but it quickly fades. The ball disappears, and the system announces that the new familiar skill has been added. Sang-woo is surprised the ball vanished, but he gets up and calls his 2 clones. Numbers 1 and 2, now wearing new gear to tell them apart, quickly respond. Looking at them, Sang-woo happily says it's tea. I'm to begin. Later, while sitting in a cafe with Junmo, Sang-woo asks how he liked today's hunt. Junmo replies that he has never seen results like this before, and he's truly amazed by what Sang-woo has accomplished. Sang-woo realizes that even though his clones only have half of his real abilities, they can do things he can't, like shooting accurately. He remembers how he made the clone take a hit from the racketeer and thinks that if he had ordered the clone to fight back, it could have easily taught the man a lesson. Junmo listens and agrees that even if clones are weaker in numbers, they seem to use their abilities better than Sang-woo himself. Sang-woo confirms this and decides to use that advantage by sending clones to train in hand-to-hand combat and shooting. Each clone goes to a different training ground, one for fighting and one for shooting. The instructors welcome them and are surprised when the clones ask to jump straight into practice. They ask again if they are sure, and both clones confidently say yes. Soon, the shooting instructor holds the control to launch targets, and the combat trainer gets ready for a spar. In seconds, a target flies into the air, and a sparring opponent attacks one of the clones. But both attempts fail. The flying target shatters from a perfect shot, and the attacking fighter is easily stopped. The instructors are shocked by the clone's skills. Sang-woo, meanwhile, tells Junmo that he now needs a unifying skill. Junmo is confused, thinking such a skill is meant for combining with pets, but Sang-woo explains that he wants to merge with his clones instead. This would allow him to feel everything the clones feel, including what they learn. He asks Junmo to imagine using that skill during training and being able to sense everything through the clones. Standing on the platform outside his house, Sang-woo concentrates and activates the new unifying skill. He suddenly feels energy flow through him and surround his body, connecting him to the clone that is sparring. Through this link, he can feel the enemy's distance, sense movement, feel how the gun fits in his hand, control breathing, sense the recoil from a shot, and see targets shatter in midair. Everything the clone experiences, Sang-woo experiences too. Thanks to this skill, Sang-woo realizes he can now gain the same training and fighting abilities as his clones, just by linking with them. After turning off the familiar skill, Sang-woo stands still and stares at his hand, which is holding only a pistol. He clearly remembers the feeling of wind on his face, when a stick flew over his head, and the strong push in his hand after the gunshot. Even though he didn't move himself, he feels tired because he shared all the sensations with his clone. Sang-woo strongly feels that he can now do everything his clones just did. As he tries to adjust to this new connection, the system announces that his stats have increased again. Happy with the improvement, he decides to keep going and prepares for another unification. Focusing his energy, he activates the skill again. This time, his clone is standing directly in front of the trainer in the training hall. Through the eyes of his clone, Sang-woo sees the coach and notices how impressive he looks. Everyone around is surprised that the trainer himself is going to spar with this newcomer. The fight begins with Sang-woo's clone attacking first, but the master blocks it easily. The trainer notices that the clone's attacks lack experience in proper movement techniques. However, the defense is on a completely different level, with the clone predicting and dodging every move with ease. The trainer's next attack is also unsuccessful, as the clone blocks it like all the others. When the clone moves to the side and attacks again, their weapons clash with a loud wooden sound. The trainer is shocked by the strength of the attack, realizing the clone is copying all of his previous moves. But being experienced, he refuses to give up. He throws the clone aside and tries to attack again, but the clone dodges calmly. One male student watching the battle is amazed that a newcomer can fight equally with their coach. Sang-woo's clone makes a powerful counterattack with his stick, and the coach struggles to block it, clearly not expecting such force. The trainer ends up pushed against the wall, and the clone gets ready to finish the fight. But experience plays a big role in combat. Using his tough situation to his advantage, the coach surprises both the clone and Sang-woo, who is watching everything through the connection. The trainer suddenly does a somersault and manages to strike the clone, disarming him. The spectators cheer, glad to see their experienced coach still capable of winning, even against someone so skilled. Meanwhile, Sang-woo screams in pain after feeling the wrist injury his clone received in the spar. The trainer facing him admits that his opponent is very good, and asks if he wants to try again in the next round. Sang-woo, now feeling a little better, checks in with his clone and asks if he's okay to continue. Without saying anything, number one suddenly jumps into the air, repeating the same move that had impressed the trainer earlier, surprising everyone in the training hall. Sang-woo is relieved and happy to see that his clone is fine and ready to keep fighting. The clone picks up his weapon, stands up straight, and tells the trainer he is ready for the next round. The trainer, liking the clone's energy and passion, agrees to continue. Sang-woo then leaves number 1 and connects with his second clone. As another clay target flies into the air, Sang-woo prepares to shoot. Just then, we are shown a depiction of a cocky guy asking his girlfriend if she saw his moves. Sang-woo wants to show off something like that, but he decides to focus on the next target. He closely observes his clone's body movements, watching how he adjusts his stance and follows the flying object with his gun. As the target reaches the perfect position, the clone pulls the trigger. Sang-woo watches the shattered pieces fall and tries to remember every small movement and detail. His goal is to learn everything his clones master and be just as capable. After finishing shooting practice, Sang-woo stops the energy flow and deactivates the familiar skill. Opening his eyes, he feels exhausted from switching between clones. Almost collapsing from fatigue, he realizes he needs rest and to recover his mana. Sitting on a bench, he reflects on how the clones fight without any fear and wonders if next time he should train alongside them and test his own skills. As he rests, Haeyeon walks by and notices her tutor. Sang-woo is surprised when she calls out to him. When he asks why she's out so late, she says she's been studying in the library. As they chat, a nearby group of men notices them. The biggest man in the group turns to another and asks if that's the same guy. Holding his phone to his ear, a man listens to an angry voice scolding him for letting Junmo go so easily. The man from the hunting ground tries to defend himself, saying the incident was caught on video, which changes everything. But the person on the phone tells him to stay out of it now and warns him not to mention the alliance of the Heeshang Guild. After the call ends, the man, filled with rage, throws his phone against a wall, then kicks it when it lands on the grass. His tantrum is interrupted by a familiar voice, Gunseok, a friend of this man. After hearing his story, Gunseok laughs at him for letting Junmo and his hunter leave, and mocks the angry man's idea of working with the most well-known hunter guild. He admits that the guild has now told him to stay away. Gunseok then hints that he might have some side work for his old friend again. The man is about to thank Gunseok when he suddenly spots some young people nearby, and loudly yells that one of them is the guy who recorded the video of him. Furious, he starts heading toward them, but Gunseok stops him and says he'll handle it. Meanwhile, Haeyeon asks Sang-woo what he's doing there, and he replies that he came to do a little training. Suddenly, a loud voice grabs their attention as Gunseok approaches them accompanied by the angry man and Chang. Gunseok says he's heard about some kind of misunderstanding between Sang-woo and one of his people. Haeyeon asks who these men are, and Sang-woo says he doesn't know, though he then spots the man behind Gunseok and realizes what's going on. Sang-woo quickly covers Haeyeon with his back and calls for his clones while asking how he can help them. The man angrily yells that Sang-woo knows exactly why they're there, but Gunseok again stops him and asks Sang-woo if he really has a video of his brother's mistake. Without waiting for an answer, Gunseok says Sang-woo should delete the video, and then they can part ways peacefully. Sang-woo shows his phone and asks if things will really end calmly if he deletes the video. When Gunseok promises they will, Sang-woo asks what guarantees he has. Laughing, Gunseok says Sang-woo is clever but adds that there are no guarantees. In fact, he says Sang-woo won't leave without being beaten, so he'll think twice before filming such things again. While Gunseok is still talking, Sang-woo quietly tells Haeyeon to run away when she gets the chance. Then facing the men, Sang-woo firmly says that no one can tell him what he should or shouldn't do. Taking a fighting stance, he boldly adds that it's not yet clear who will be the one getting beaten today. Junseok, seeing this as overconfidence, tells his men to beat that attitude out of him. As the attackers move in, Sang-woo manages to dodge the first punch, but Chang hits him hard in the head. The man then takes advantage of Sang-woo's hesitation and kicks him, followed by another strong hit from Chang straight to Sang-woo's jaw. Haeyeon screams as she sees her teacher fall to the ground. Sang-woo, while in pain, thinks that using his clone's skills didn't go very well this time. Still struggling to breathe from the hit to his stomach, Sang-woo sees Haeyeon step forward to defend him. She's scared, shaking, but she forms a glowing energy ball, ready to fight. Sang-woo tries to stop her, but she stands her ground. The attackers hesitate, realizing she's awakened and has powers. But Gunseok slaps both of his men on the head, mocking them for being afraid of a schoolgirl. He then turns to Hyeon, taunting her and asking what she would do if they continued attacking. As Gunseok starts walking toward them, Hyeon yells at him to back off and throws the energy ball at him with all her strength. The glowing attack flies toward his stomach, and a loud explosion is heard when it hits. Chong and the man shield themselves from the shockwave. Through the smoke, Gunseok calmly says that there are as many awakened people now as dirt on the road, and most of them aren't impressive at all. He steps forward, revealing himself unharmed, and says he'll teach Haeyeon a lesson. As he raises his arm to strike her, Sang-woo suddenly appears in front of her and blocks the blow with his own body. Looking straight at Gunseok, Sang-woo declares that he's just getting started. Then, using his energy, he throws a powerful punch at Gunseok. Meanwhile, Haeyeon, now protected behind him, watches in amazement as the man who looked completely beaten just moments ago is now standing strong. Sang-yu lands a powerful hit, forcing the gang boss, Junseok, to step back holding his injured face. Quickly preparing to face the angry man next, Sang-yu realizes it isn't enough just to imitate his clones. He must carefully watch his opponent's moves. He skillfully avoids all of the angry man's attacks before delivering a decisive strike to the man's head, knocking him down onto the grass. Immediately afterward, Sang-yu notices another attacker approaching, but lacks the speed to dodge or block the incoming blow. He accepts the hit, but swiftly responds with a counterattack, neutralizing his opponent's fighting ability. At this point, Gunseok, having recovered from Sang-yu's earlier strike, becomes aggressive and openly doubts whether Sang-yu, an inexperienced fighter, is even worth hitting. Sang-yu feels lingering pain from Gyeonseok's previous blow and realizes Gyeonseok must have some ability to increase his strength, concluding he must avoid further hits from Gyeonseok. Gyeonseok gathers momentum, aiming to crush Sang-yu, but Sang-yu expertly sidesteps and counters with an uppercut to Gunseok's jaw, quickly followed by another punch to Gunseok's right cheekbone. Gunseok, increasingly furious, aggressively advances while yelling curses. Sang-yu again evades Gunseok's attack and quickly retaliates, realizing he must swiftly knock out his opponent. Another unsuccessful attempt by Gunseok leads to Sang-woo landing yet another strong uppercut, further enraging Gunseok. Gunseok, activating his superhuman strength skill, fiercely charges again, and Sang-woo recognizes he must avoid this strike. Just then, Sang-woo feels someone grabbing his leg. It's one of Gunseok's men, recovering from earlier hits. Unable to escape, Sang-woo braces himself and endures Gunseok's powerful blow. Hyeon, seeing her teacher's pained face, screams in fear. Sang-woo manages to stay upright despite immense pain, struggling to breathe, watching as Gunseok raises his massive hand for a final strike. Sang-woo, sure he's doomed, suddenly sees Gunseok's face distort from a blow resembling a bomb explosion. Haeyeon has attacked Gunseok with all her might, trying desperately to protect Sang-yu. Gunseok's men, regaining consciousness, insultingly shout at Haeyeon, urging her to flee while she still can. They charge toward the vulnerable girl, but before reaching her, they are swiftly knocked down by Sang-yu's clones, who arrive just in time. Haeyeon is extremely surprised when masked men suddenly appear and rescue her. Gunseok is equally shocked, turning around to understand what's happening, which gives Sang-yu enough time to catch his breath. Believing he still has the advantage, the gang boss quickly rushes to finish Sang-yu off, but Sang-yu cleverly dodges his attack by performing a somersault, identical to one he's already practiced while using a clone's body. Flying over Gunseok's head, Sang-yu even finds time to thank him for providing this opportunity to test his newly acquired skills. Immediately afterward, Sang-yu lands a powerful blow, learned from his clones, directly onto Gunseok's head, fully defeating him. After securing victory, Sang-yu, breathing heavily, sits down on the grass to recover. Meanwhile, his clones stand guard over the other two defeated gang members. Shortly afterward, Sang-yu receives system messages notifying him that all his attributes have increased, his level has risen, and he can now summon 3 clones at once. Feeling incredibly happy, Sang-yu falls back onto the grass, smiling broadly. Haiyan and the clones quickly rush over, thinking he's wounded. Sang-yu notices Haiyan's bandaged hand and asks why she didn't escape when she had the chance. She responds that things might have ended poorly without her help. Haiyan is astonished to discover the famous Eagle Eye was actually just Sang-yu's clone. Sang-yu, feeling slightly embarrassed, asks her not to tell anyone, as revealing this could bring danger. Haiyan agrees, promising to keep her teacher's abilities secret. Time quickly passes as they converse, and soon they reach Haiyan's home. Showing genuine concern, Sang-yu asks if she can write despite her injury. Haiyan replies her left hand is injured, but she writes with her right. However, she jokingly uses this situation to request fewer assignments. Sang-yu firmly refuses her request, not reducing her homework. An awkward silence follows until Sang-yu suddenly expresses sincere gratitude to Haiyan. He admits openly that he wouldn't have succeeded without her help. Haiyan playfully responds with mock pride, declaring it would indeed have been difficult for her teacher without her help. Becoming serious again, she suggests Sang-yu can show his gratitude by inviting her to a meal. Sang-yu readily accepts this suggestion, prompting Haiyan to remind him she'll hold him to that promise. After saying goodbye, the 2 young people who met unexpectedly and shared an adventure together part ways. Sang-yu walks to his room, feeling extremely happy, eagerly planning to prepare the best lunch possible for his savior. At some point, he notices his 2 clones following closely behind him and questions why they aren't returning to training. The clones respond in unison, explaining that all training centers are now closed. Hearing this, Sang-yu disappears briefly into nearby bushes, searches for suitable sticks, and then hands these sticks to the clones, instructing them to practice on their own in the park. A month later, Junmo asks him how his training plan is progressing. Sang-yu explains happily that all his abilities have significantly improved, and he can now summon a 3rd clone, a piece of news that pleases Junmo greatly, since it means Sang-yu will develop even faster. Sang-yu confidently states Junmo will be amazed when he sees how much his skills have grown. Junmo is already astonished when Sang-yu requests that he book 3 level F hunting territories for the next day. Sang-yu thanks Junmo enthusiastically when he assures Sang-yu he will secure these areas no matter what. Junmo then takes out his notebook, asking only about the specific time Sang-yu plans to hunt. After finishing the conversation with his agent, Sang-yu turns his attention to his clones, giving each one precise instructions on what type of training they should do today. He sends them to practice in the park, telling them to return home by midnight. When Sang-yu notices they have military weapons, he quickly orders them to leave these behind at home. Sitting at his computer, Sang-yu observes that his clones are training extremely well, but reminds himself that, as the team's strategist, he shouldn't remain idle. Therefore, he begins watching training videos about various monsters, carefully studying the best weapons and attack strategies to defeat them. The detailed videos make Sang-yu feel bored and tired, but he's interrupted by the sound of footsteps in the hallway, realizing with relief that the clones have returned home without exhausting themselves too much. He instructs them to shower and change clothes, and while they follow these instructions, Sang-yu decides he needs to test if his clones can absorb and use the knowledge he's gained from the videos. Time passes quickly, and Sang-yu soon receives a message from Junmo, who announces he'll be arriving shortly. Sang-yu rushes his clones, who have showered and are now quickly eating to regain their energy. Outside, Sang-yu meets Junmo, who immediately notices how intimidating the clones look, praising their powerful, athletic appearance. When Junmo confirms he successfully reserved the hunting territories, he's surprised when Sang-yu himself refuses to get into the car, asking Junmo instead to look after the clones. Junmo, confused, asks Sang-yu about this, and Sang-yu explains he'll join the hunt using his familiar skill, while practicing breathing exercises at home. After watching Junmo's car leave with the clones, Sang-yu returns to his apartment and starts meditating, performing deep breathing exercises to concentrate his energy. While meditating, Sang-yu reflects on the sensations he feels when using his cloning and familiar skills. Instead of feeling energy released outward, he wants to achieve a sensation of energy circulating within his body. After several minutes, Sang-yu senses an energy center spreading throughout him, growing stronger until he opens his eyes, immediately receiving a system message notifying him that he has successfully acquired the meditation skill. On the hunting field, bodies of monsters and people lay scattered together. One remaining hunter desperately tries crawling away from danger, confused by the appearance of an unexpectedly strong monster. With only his left hand working, every move is painfully difficult, and he angrily curses his situation. Realizing such a dangerous creature shouldn't be here, he thinks urgently about reporting it. Suddenly, he notices a large shadow approaching him from behind, and immediately understands that he's about to die. Meanwhile, Junmo arrives at the last of the 3 hunting territories he reserved for Sang-yu. As the third clone leaves the car, Junmo warns him about the 2-legged fish living in that area. The clone thanks him, and Junmo wishes him good luck, urging caution. After delivering all 3 clones safely, Junmo informs Sang-yu and reflects on how incredible it is that Sang-yu can hunt simultaneously in 3 places while remaining safely at home. Watching the third clone walk away, Junmo realizes Sang-yu's hunting achievements might soon attract considerable attention. At home, Sang-yu continues practicing meditation, happy about his recent improvements. However, his mood suddenly changes when a voice from his phone warns him against false happiness, making Sang-yu realize he's still far from mastering meditation fully. Noticing Junmo's message confirming the clones' arrival at their hunting sites, Sang-yu quickly activates his familiar skill to personally experience the hunt. Initially terrified, he sees a blade stabbing through a giant rat, but quickly feels relieved upon realizing it's his number 1 clone successfully hunting. Sang-yu notes his clone effortlessly kills the rats, suggesting his training strategy has worked well. As new enemies approach, Sang-yu eagerly observes whether his distant clone has effectively absorbed the hunting knowledge he studied. He vividly recalls watching a training video in which a familiar hunter advises forming groups for rat hunts, though solo hunts can also be managed effectively. Removing bloody glasses from his face, the instructor explains rats typically run straight, allowing hunters to maintain distance and shoot accurately. He warns that close combat might sometimes be necessary, advising hunters to target the spot where the rat's vertebrae begin, since their skulls are very strong. Additionally, monster world rats multiply rapidly, so with proper preparation and consistent practice, hunters can secure a steady source of experience and income. At this moment in the video, a corpse collector briefly interrupts, remarking that hitting moving targets isn't easy, prompting the instructor to quickly dismiss him, asking him not to disrupt the recording. The next clone moves carefully across the sandy area until suddenly, a huge scorpion appears from the sand right in front of him. However, without fear and using Sang-yu's knowledge, the clone quickly defeats the monster. Meanwhile, the third clone, equally skilled, easily cuts another enemy into 2 halves, while Sang-yu watches through his familiar skill. The other monsters nearby try to attack, but they have no chance against such a powerful opponent. Sang-yu intends to make the most out of today's hunt, determined to fully benefit from these hunting grounds. Elsewhere, other hunters notice that the area is unusually quiet today, with no monsters appearing. After walking a bit further, they discover a large pile of giant rat corpses, and quickly decide they're lucky, planning to collect the corpses immediately. Sang-yu, having defeated another group of monsters, feels satisfied with how well the hunt is progressing, but suddenly senses he overlooked something important. After thinking for a few moments, he realizes with shock that he forgot to instruct his clones to gather the monster corpses into a pile. He immediately sends mental instructions to all his clones to stop hunting and start collecting the corpses instead. Sang-yu, controlling the third clone, also starts gathering the corpses, as they're what hunters are paid for. Soon, he notices additional corpses nearby, and asks number 3 if he killed those monsters, but the clone replies he didn't. Sang Yu insists they can still take the corpses, since they're unclaimed. As Sang Yu observes a severely injured two-legged fish, he wonders who could have inflicted such damage. Then, number 3 picks something up, asking Sang Yu if he should collect it too. Sang Yu is horrified to see it's a severed human hand. Before he can react further, both Sang Yu and number 3 hear rustling in nearby bushes, realizing someone else is there. Number 3 cautiously moves forward with his weapon ready, when suddenly a monster's severed head flies out of the bushes, startling him. This turns out to be a trick from a much smarter and more powerful monster. Before number 3 can properly react, the monster swiftly attacks, cutting off the clone's hand. At home, Sang Yu experiences intense, unbearable pain, feeling as if his own hand was severed. The connection with his clone abruptly breaks, leaving Sang Yu sitting stunned and disoriented on his kitchen floor. Instinctively, he raises his hand, which he feels he just lost, and sees it still attached. Despite seeing his hand unharmed, Sang Yu remains deeply shaken, experiencing lingering pain and terror. Gradually regaining his thoughts, he realizes the clone connection was severed because of the severe pain. Sang Yu quickly recovers and immediately calls his agent Junmo, urgently asking about the hunting territory assigned to number 3. Junmo explains it's the area inhabited by fish-like creatures, prompting Sang Yu to request that clones 1 and 2 be sent there immediately. Ending the call, Sang Yu hastily puts on his shoes and says he'll personally join them soon. Meanwhile, number 3 remains alone against the powerful monster, rapidly weakening due to blood loss, while the creature grips a weapon in its paw. Soon, number 3 is completely defeated. Sang Yu quickly takes a taxi to the hunting ground, sensing the exact moment his connection with the clone is severed. Opening his status window, he sees it'll take more than 6 hours for number 3's energy to recover. Passing through the checkpoint, Sang Yu hopes Junmo and his other clones are already waiting, and upon entering, he's relieved to find numbers 1 and 2 present. Sang Yu tells Junmo that number 3 was killed by a very powerful monster. At Junmo's request, Sang Yu carefully describes the creature, shocking Junmo, who says such a high-level humanoid fish monster shouldn't be in this territory. Junmo urgently insists they inform the authorities immediately and have the area closed, explaining that the monster is level D, far too dangerous for even a team of level E hunters. Sang Yu agrees but stops Junmo, asking him to wait and report it only after his clones have entered the hunting ground through the portal. Junmo is surprised by Sang Yu's request, but Sang Yu asks Junmo to trust him, confident his clones can handle this dangerous mission. Shortly afterward, Sang Yu enters a meditative state, activates his familiar skill, and sends clones 1 and 2 through the portal into the dangerous territory where number 3 died. Sang Yu instructs them to head directly to the spot of number 3's death. As they move carefully through the dense bushes, one clone suddenly signals to stop, noticing the humanoid fish monster just a few meters away, eating the corpses of its own kind. Realizing they've caught the monster by surprise, Sang Yu sees this as an excellent chance to attack first. Quickly assessing the situation, Sang Yu knows his personal skill level equals level E, while his clones possess only half his strength, level F. However, the monster already appears weakened, so he feels confident that defeating it is achievable. Sang Yu gives the clones specific orders to target only the monster's head. Numbers 1 and 2 immediately stand up and begin firing at the creature, but they soon realize things aren't going according to plan when their bullets bounce harmlessly off the monster's tough, impenetrable skin. Sang Yu tries to quickly decide what to do next, since firearms seem useless, and the furious monster has already stopped eating, and letting out a piercing scream, prepares to attack. Despite its huge size, the humanoid fish monster easily leaps high into the air, diving directly towards Sang Yu's clones. Numbers 1 and 2 manage to react quickly, jumping apart to avoid the monster's attack, and immediately afterward, one of them counters by striking with a knife. Sang Yu, experiencing everything through his clone, is shocked to see the blade barely leaving a scratch on the monster's tough body. The fish monster swiftly retaliates, and the clone just barely dodges the sweeping attack of the creature's weapon, which slices effortlessly through a thick tree trunk, causing it to crash loudly to the ground. Before the monster can turn around, the clones rush to attack again, but their knives fail to harm the creature as it blocks their blows effortlessly. The monster turns swiftly, launching a powerful strike that hurls one of Sangyu's clones several meters back, slamming him forcefully into a tree. Observing closely, Sangyu suddenly recalls that when shooting earlier, the first bullet bounced off, but a second bullet hitting the exact same spot managed to penetrate slightly. Acting immediately, Sangyu instructs his clones to test this theory by repeatedly firing at the same spots. The monster quickly shows signs of pain as bullets begin to pierce its tough skin, proving Sangyu's observation correct and giving him renewed hope for victory. Following Sangyu's command, both clones focus their shots continuously on already damaged areas of the monster's body. Although the monster tries desperately to protect itself, each second shot on any uninjured spot also inflicts new damage. Unexpectedly, something shocking occurs. The monster's sword, covered in its own blood, begins glowing and emitting strange energy. Empowered by this new energy, the humanoid fish launches a fierce attack, hitting one clone with incredible force. Sangyu, experiencing the strike as if it happened to his own body, is confused by the sudden increase in the monster's strength, suspecting the blood-coated glowing sword might be causing this boost. He concludes this means the monster is severely injured and struggling, suggesting the power-up might be temporary. Immediately afterward, the clone bravely attacks again, but the monster anticipates this move, taking another hit before delivering a powerful counterattack with its sword. Once more, Sangyu feels intense, overwhelming pain as if he himself has been struck, but this time the connection with his clone remains intact. Sangyu immediately pulls out his knife, determined to cause more blood loss to the monster. Furious, he relentlessly attacks, forcing the creature to withdraw its weapon in an attempt to create distance. However, Sangyu and his clone quickly chase after the retreating monster, refusing to give it any chance to escape. Suddenly, the two-legged fish strikes back fiercely with its lower limb. Sangyu's already wounded clone can not dodge the next powerful strike aimed directly at his head, but at the critical moment, his partner steps in, successfully blocking the deadly blow. Using the monster's brief confusion to his advantage, the wounded clone immediately launches a powerful counterattack, hitting with incredible strength. The monster freezes momentarily, makes unclear noises, then collapses first onto its knees and finally flat onto the ground, seemingly defeated. Exhausted, one clone sits down heavily, while the seriously wounded clone falls to the ground, completely drained. After checking his ammunition and seeing that he's out of bullets, Sangyu decides that today's hunt is over. Planning to inform Junmo about the successful operation, Sangyu suddenly notices the defeated monster's body is no longer where it fell, realizing immediately the enemy has escaped and is still alive. He quickly orders number 2 to chase after the creature, noticing it's heading directly toward the portal. Meanwhile, soldiers guarding the territory inform hunters that the portal is temporarily closed due to warnings of a dangerous monster, causing frustration among hunters who had spent time and money preparing for their outing. Junmo, anxiously observing events, silently hopes Sangyu will hurry. Suddenly, noise erupts among the soldiers at the portal. One soldier urgently instructs others to inform their lieutenants, as several men quickly load their weapons, preparing to shoot. A massive, angry, armed monster charges straight toward the portal, prompting shouts that it must not be allowed to escape. Soldiers open fire, but their bullets fail to slow the advancing humanoid fish. At the very last moment, Sangyu's clone emerges from nearby bushes, throwing his knife toward the monster to distract it. This distraction provides Sangyu with an opportunity. Leaping high into the air, gathering all his remaining strength, he lands on the monster's head and drives his knife deep into its skull. Soldiers around him, who have now ceased firing, watch in shock as the huge creature, with Sangyu still sitting atop it, slowly begins collapsing backward onto the ground. A man wearing a bulletproof vest reports that his team has arrived at the scene and promises to send a detailed report shortly. Approaching the defeated monster, he immediately identifies its type and level. He then questions a nearby soldier about what occurred. Still frightened, the soldier explains that reports of a powerful monster appearing in this area, usually reserved for low-level hunters, were true. However, a hunter who was already inside the portal managed to defeat it. The representative from the Hunter Association is very surprised, because this location is intended only for F-level hunters. His shock increases further when he discovers the monster wasn't defeated by a group of hunters, or even a D-ranked hunter, but rather by a single F-level hunter. The soldier then points out Sang-yu as the hunter responsible. Observing Sang-yu, the representative finds it difficult to believe that someone ranked at F level could defeat a monster ranked at D level by himself. Examining the monster closely, he notices all the attacks were repeatedly directed at the same spots, likely due to the hunter's lack of specialized weapons. Yet he remains amazed at the precision needed to strike the same area repeatedly on a moving creature. Deciding to personally inspect the area beyond the portal, the representative heads towards it, thinking about what he'll report to his superiors, and even briefly considers lying, claiming he defeated the monster himself. Meanwhile, Sang-yu enjoys the rewards of his victory, wiping monster blood from his face and receiving system notifications about new skills he's unlocked. He realizes his badly injured clone survived, only due to his increased regeneration skill. Junmo, standing nearby, asks Sang-yu how his clones are doing, and Sang-yu explains that although he could summon them again, allowing them to recover gradually will further enhance their regeneration abilities. Junmo confidently suggests Sang-yu should easily handle level E monsters after today. Sang-yu agrees, but suddenly remembers the valuable sword dropped by the monster. Excitedly pushing through the crowd to claim it, he mentions the sword absorbs monster blood, but Junmo quickly intervenes, cautioning that the sword might be cursed, and suggesting a clone handle it instead. Although initially disappointed at not using the weapon himself, Sang-yu quickly cheers up when Junmo explains that such items sell extremely well. Agreeing that a clone should collect the sword, Junmo begins discussing the generous reward Sang-yu will receive for defeating a D-rank monster. Remembering another item dropped by the monster, Sang-yu takes out a stone from his pocket and asks Junmo its value. Junmo's reaction indicates this gem is rare, typically found only in high-level monsters, leaving him conflicted about whether to reveal its true value. Eventually, Junmo decides to tell Sang-yu that the stone enhances characteristics, but cannot be used by humans, making it less valuable due to side effects. Slightly disappointed, Sang-yu is reassured by Junmo that he's already made a significant profit today. Agreeing to leave the paperwork to Junmo as usual, Sang-yu heads home with his wounded clones. After sending numbers 1 and 2 to rest, he summons number 3, relieved to see the fully restored clone appear. Sang-yu returns the uniform retrieved from where number 3 had previously fallen and sends the resurrected clone to continue training. Sang-yu decides to examine the items he acquired, placing both the stone and sword before him. He first inspects the strengthening stone, a gemstone, discovering it boosts strength, but isn't safe for humans. Excessive use could transform the user into a monster. Although the idea of increased strength appeals to him, Sang-yu worries about the dangerous side effect. While he knows damage taken by clones doesn't affect him, transforming into a monster might be different, and his agent certainly wouldn't approve. So Sang-yu decides it's too risky and sets the crystal aside for now. He then focuses on his second prize, recalling Junmo's warning that the sword might be cursed. Although selling it would bring a good profit, Sang-yu's curiosity outweighs financial concerns. He instructs clone number 2 to pick up the sword, and surprisingly, the clone easily lifts it without anything unusual happening. However, when the clone mentions hearing a voice, Sang-yu quickly uses his familiar skill to connect with him. Instantly, Sang-yu hears a sinister, powerful voice, loudly demanding murder and blood. Finding the voice overwhelming and disturbing, Sang-yu disconnects immediately. Strangely, the voice doesn't seem to affect the clone, making Sang-yu wonder what might happen if he holds the sword himself. Eventually, he decides not to sell the sword yet, and plans to use it for hunting. Later, as the clones rest, Sang-yu receives a message from the system informing him that their regeneration skill has improved again. He plans another hunting session soon, but since the clones are still exhausted, Sang-yu decides to meditate instead. He successfully activates his meditation skill, concentrating on the fact that school resumes tomorrow. Like most students, Sang-yu isn't enthusiastic about going back to school, feeling his vacation passed too quickly because he spent it entirely on improving his abilities. Checking his status window, he notices his characteristics have greatly improved, though they still seem somewhat weak. When Sang-yu enters the classroom, he's pleasantly surprised to see his friend Sang-yu's friend already seated, unaware they'd be in the same class this year. Sang-yu decides to sit next to Sang-yu's friend, chatting and joking together, while other students closely observe them. The girls who previously knew Sang-yu find it hard to believe how much he has improved physically and lost weight over the holidays. Two other girls sitting nearby not only notice his impressive new look, but also consider inviting him on a date. Sang-yu's friend and Sang-yu notice this attention, and Sang-yu's friend comments on his friend's newfound popularity. Sang-yu then asks Sang-yu's friend how different he looks now, to which Sang-yu's friend jokingly replies that even Sang-yu's own parents might struggle to recognize him, recalling their own recent meeting when Sang-yu's friend had difficulty recognizing Sang-yu. Changing the subject, Sang-yu's friend suggests hanging out and having drinks after class, but Sang-yu unexpectedly refuses, explaining he already made plans and can't break his promise. Sang-yu's friend, clearly upset, assumes Sang-yu must have a date. When two mutual friends nearby overhear the conversation, Sang-yu's friend dramatically points at them, complaining that Sang-yu is abandoning his friends without properly explaining himself. At the headquarters of the World Hunters Association, everyone is busy working. Michael Harris, the chairman, closely observes operations from his office window until one of his subordinates urgently approaches, informing him that their seer has predicted troubling events. Interested, Michael asks for details, and the assistant reveals that a new portal is expected to open, allowing hundreds of monsters to invade. Recognizing the seriousness of the situation, Michael quickly inquires if the exact location of this portal is known. The assistant hands him documents, confirming that the emergency will happen in Korea. Meanwhile, Wante Park, head of the Canis Guild, walks through a corridor, surprised by the number of people gathering in one of the meeting rooms. Suddenly, he's nearly knocked over by a strong push from behind, accompanied by an enthusiastic greeting from Miho Han, head of the YOLO Guild. She immediately worries that she has pushed him too hard. Once the unusual greeting is over, Miho realizes something serious must be happening since they've all been summoned. Wante agrees, and they continue together, with Miho lightly teasing him about his unshaven appearance. Arriving at the meeting place, they find many people already present, including Haesung Shin, head of the Haesung Guild. Haesung quickly notices Wante and Miho entering. Both clearly dislike Haesung's arrogant presence, and he tries to provoke Wante by sarcastically insisting he's just greeting him politely and expecting courtesy in return. Wante, not interested in engaging with Haesung, curtly tells him to stop showing off and take his place. Undeterred, Haesung deliberately continues, mentioning that he's heard Wante's Canis Guild's team, number 1, was sent to the Odin's Tower, and notes that there's been no recent news from them, hinting at potential failure. Ilgon Kim, head of the Taeyang Guild, intervenes and sharply tells Haesung to stop causing trouble. Haesung, however, continues to imply the lack of news means Wante's team failed. Miho notices Wante becoming visibly irritated. At this tense moment, Byung-hun, head of the Korean Hunters Association, arrives. Byung-hun immediately senses the strained atmosphere, asking about the issue, but no one answers. Wante quietly takes his seat, managing to calm himself slightly, and everyone else remains silent, as Byung-hun sits down. Byung-hun begins by greeting and thanking everyone for attending the important meeting, then reveals that Korea recently received a serious warning from the World Hunting Association. Hae-sung quickly interrupts, guessing a seer was involved, and Byung-hun confirms this. He explains a portal will soon open somewhere in Korea, bringing with it an invasion that includes dangerous level A monsters, and emphasizes that they urgently need the World Association's assistance. When someone present asks if the portal's exact location is known, Byung-hun admits they currently have no specific details, only knowing it will appear somewhere within the country. Ilgon Kim, becoming extremely frustrated, loudly complains that it's impossible to ensure safety throughout the entire country. Byung-hun calmly responds, clarifying that solving this challenging problem is exactly why they have gathered for the meeting today. The association leaders then start questioning Byung-hun about whether their hunters will receive payment for participating, given that they must set aside their personal interests. Byung-hun hesitates, as the association doesn't plan to pay the hunters. Won-tae quickly steps into the conversation, asking to speak and suggesting an idea to avoid addressing the uncomfortable payment issue. Byung-hun immediately allows him to continue, relieved by the interruption. Won-tae proposes creating small mobile groups made up of hunters from each association, who will be scattered across the country and ready to move instantly once the portal's location is revealed. He also suggests establishing penalties for any association that refuses to participate in defending the country. Byung-hun, receiving no other suggestions, promptly calls for a vote. As each person raises their hand, many do so only to avoid future punishments, or because they feel they could assemble such teams easily. However, a few, like Miho, sincerely support Won-tae's sensible plan and respect him personally. Seeing that nearly everyone else has agreed, Hee-sung reluctantly raises his hand as well. Byung-hun expresses relief at the quick agreement among everyone, wishes them good luck with this difficult task, and formally ends the meeting. Meanwhile, the first day back at school has ended, and Sang-woo begins heading home. On his way, he notices Haeyeon dealing with a guy persistently blocking her path and repeatedly asking for her phone number, refusing to leave until she gives it. Haeyeon, uncomfortable and unwilling to share her number or get acquainted, tries to politely decline by mentioning she already has a boyfriend. Sang-woo approaches, happy to see Haeyeon, but unaware of the situation, and greets her. Haeyeon takes advantage of this opportunity by loudly calling Sang-woo her baby, completely confusing him. Continuing her act, she complains that she's been waiting too long for him, takes his arm, and quickly walks away from the persistent guy. Once safely away, Haeyeon explains the situation to Sang-woo, and playfully clarifies that she doesn't actually have a boyfriend. Changing the subject, Sang-woo asks Haeyeon why she isn't wearing her school uniform today, prompting her to flirt by saying she's delighted he notices how she dresses. During their conversation, Sang-woo receives a message on his phone about the transfer of his earnings from hunting, making him very excited about the substantial sum. In his excitement, he suddenly remembers his earlier promise to take Haeyeon out to eat and immediately suggests they fulfill that promise right away. Shortly afterward, they find themselves sitting in a nice cafe, eagerly devouring delicious, freshly cooked meat. They enjoy the food immensely, despite Haeyeon repeatedly expressing concern over the high prices and questioning whether Sang-woo can afford it. Sang-woo reassures her each time, urging her to stop worrying about the cost and simply enjoy their meal. As they continue eating, Sang-woo happily orders even more food. Suddenly, the cafe is filled with the sound of multiple phones receiving urgent messages, and the television on the cafe's wall also freezes before displaying a critical announcement. Sang-woo, Haeyeon, and everyone else in the cafe immediately turn their attention to the TV, where a serious warning about impending danger is being broadcasted.